actually started when Ben prayed earlier on. But the vision I saw wasn't. It was almost as if it was like a painting. So the first part of it was like a watercolor, and it was like a literal waterfall falling from the sky, and then beginning to form a river. And then to the left of this, you see men, and this part of it represented man's endeavors at religion, but they were trying to draw water from the river, and so they were like stick figures, though, that would approach the river and throw these boulders in to try to divert the water from this waterfall over. And they couldn't get much. You'd see like a really wide channel. So it was like a canal. And so the water was very shallow, but it was going over, and then there was a giant building that looked like a church or a seminary, and a factory. Wow. And it was, as I looked forward, I was reminded of, and it looked like almost like the motto in quotes was, there's a saying by John Calvin that talks about the human heart is a factory of idols. And as the water went through, you see a bunch of tombstones that created like a dam of some sort, over which there was a bridge. And you would see these stick figures walk out with their tassels, like what graduating. Stick figures, just like a basic, like circle and stick arm, stick leg. So there was no substance to it. I see. But they had their graduating hats on, walking over this bridge that was crossing this dam, and they had in their hand diplomas, and on it said Certificate of Salvation. And then panned over again to the river again, seeing the waterfall and the vibrant colors and the life, and the water pushes through these rocks that continue to get thrown and bursts forth. And it continues down the river, and I noticed almost immediately along the riverbed is it's not wild, but it's curated, so it's been managed and manicured. And in the vision, you see at the start of it, there's always the Father is always there. It's the same Father, but there are different sons. And when I say sons, it's represented in both male and female children. And the Father, at first, you see a child fishing, but it was like an old-fashioned pole that was just a stick and a line and a hook. And the Father was with the child teaching how to tie that. And then you look a little further, and you would see that the Father had like an old-fashioned like hand saw, and the Father was sawing. And then a little bit further down, you see that's carpentry work. What is the word? Carpentry. And then a little further down, you see the Father with another child hammering. And then you go further down the water, and the Father is fully formed. But these children, they're not stick figures, but they're not fully formed yet. You go a little bit further down, and you see not fully formed. Like I think when Tim was talking, what it made me think of was they were not incarnate. There wasn't flesh, like fully formed or fully drawn. They're like half drawn. So they weren't mature, I guess. I see. And as you go down the vision further, you see them a little bit more mature, and the Father is still present, but instead of now the Father putting the hook on there, the child is beginning to do it. And you look a little further now, the child is beginning to grab the saw, and the Father's hand is there. And you go a little further down, you also see the Father at times is like holding on to a child who is sick. So working through sickness. And so there's not just the sense of joy there, but there's a sense of struggle. And the real sense that I had is that all of this had to do with discipline. A little bit further down, you see in the water now similar gravestones in the water, but they're creating rapids. And as you go through these waters of rapids with the gravestones there, coming out on the other side, you see that those gravestones have allowed the water to kind of break apart and irrigate. And you see now fully formed, fully mature individuals who are doing the work that the Father taught them. And so the one who was taught fishing is fully capable of fishing.
Oh, wow.
But the father is still there and
Yes.
present.
Mhm.
And so it took on much more of a fishing together,
Yes, companionship.
companionship,
Yeah.
right? And then the one who was building, you see the house being formed and structured, and that's kind of where it tapered off.
Wow, there you go. I get God is identifying two ministries, from the traditional ways or intellectual way doing things. This is the household God, in terms of working, teaching sonship. Anybody else have anything? Noah, do you have anything today? Go ahead.
Start off. It was very simple vision. Someone was just zipping up their jacket, and it was kind of like an upward angle shot where I was able to see the details of the zipper very well. And it actually was kind of a surreal imagery, but it's like a train track actually that was coming together through the zipper that was going up. I think there was an importance in the fact that the zipper was going towards the head. And I did see that it's kind of
a train track.
A train was actually
right into the head.
Train track that
wow.
Putting together.
Oh wow, that is very, very illuminating.
That's all I saw.
Yeah. No. Tim.
Mr. King.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
They're just little like pictures, really, of different people in different like sicknesses or poisons. Like one person with a bite from a snake, and another person with like a hand that was completely black. Either cutting out or cutting away the injuries. That they didn't have cures for them. So they were cutting out or cutting away the injuries so it would not grow. Which kind of, this happened, I got these almost after, like a little bit after worship. And then I was thinking if it was right for me to share this or not. And then when Dad prayed, he was talking about cutting away, which was this. So I felt like that was me being allowed to share this.
Oh, sure. Thank you for that.
And then I forgot to say, this started branching off into different things.
Oh.
So I drew a small picture about it. It's basically just things that harm, also doing good and helping. So one of them was, this person was cutting away a spider's web, which if you watch a spider make a web, it's a lot of time and effort and energy for the spider.
Yeah.
And the spider loses its home.
Oh, wow.
But then it shows someone shooting at the same man. He was wearing a bulletproof jacket, which some of them are made from spider silk.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And spider silk can be if it's made right, can be made into something as strong as steel.
Is that right?
Or fabric as strong as steel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, and there were just a bunch of small little bubbles of together harming, but also helping. That's awesome.
Oh, harming poisonous substance?
Poisons, there were accidents. One of them was fire.
Oh, even the Bible events, basically. Harmful events on the health events. Okay.
It was the same thing that was harming, also helping.
I see. Oh, that's
I would think like a surgeon's scalpel. Technically, seems like it would be doing harm to cut into flesh, but it's helping to do surgery.
Oh, do surgery.
Harming and helping at the
same time. Okay.
And I had a couple that were just simple, like just a picture of foxglove, which is a poisonous flower, and then the medicine you can make from the foxglove.
Oh, that's interesting perspective. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. So on one side, if applied is harmful, when used rightly, it's a good thing. Okay. Oh wow.
And I also just after the meeting started had something for Tim.
Well.
I didn't know what it was exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I had my own ideas of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of cleared up when Tim was talking about overgrowth.
Mm.
And there's a picture in here that I think's
funny. Okay.
That I can show.
Okay. Okay. That's private, obviously, not for us to know, John. He's tired. Anything else from anybody? No. Nicole, I had to call you out a little bit. Do you have any vision? I think you have a vision.
Yeah, sorry. It was a small one. Oh. I actually before Ben prayed, I saw the ocean and the sort of the sun setting above it. And I did see that same, well, I saw a beast that was like an octopus too, as well. It had more things to it that made it look.
You mean you saw it before he shared?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the beast in the water before. I saw the first part before, and then the second part afterward. But anyway, it was sort of like the octopus again, except for it was very monster like beastly. It had extra parts that were like scary looking. But what I saw was there was this hand from heaven, which I assume is the hand of God, and his hand was sort of elevating above the water, and it had opened, and on two of the fingers of God there were two of the arms of the octopus that were tied up that weren't able to be in use. They were tied to the Lord's fingers with string, actually, which I'm sure in to us it would have been like large huge ropes that would be on a ship kind of, but to the Lord it was like these little strings that he held back two of these arms, which kept this enemy from going anywhere. So he was staying put, and he was also with two less arms to be able to cause harm or whatever. And then I saw as God had opened his hand up that there was something in the palm of his hand. And I was looking down on it, and what it was this army, and they had a barricade that was this really strong, thick wall. It was like a square, and they were inside of this barricade. And the army was, I believe it was like the Revolutionary War. And they were getting ready, and they were super duper ready. They had trained, and their horses were all dressed up for war. Like they were completely ready for war. They were marching. They had their swords. They had their outfits. They were fully ready, but they weren't going anywhere. They were just staying inside these walls that kept them safe. And so then I watched as the Lord closed his hand and crushed it. And then when he had flattened his hand out again, nobody was really harmed, but their walls were down, and like you could see them like dusting themselves off and kind of putting their clothes back together on straight. And and at this point all their defenses were down, so they kind of got back up on their horses and they got ready, and they had their swords raised to like charge, to be ready to do what they needed to do. And that was it.
Bless the Lord. Well, with that, why not you wrap up for us with a prayer? Bless the Lord. I encourage you each, especially pay attention to what Tim shared today. They are very meaningful for us as sorry to use that word, but American Christians in the evangelical circle. And the fact that on the way I actually talked to John about this topic is evidenced by Justin's visions as well. The two ways receiving God's grace, and build different regions of life eventually. ended up in different camps, different way of conducting life, and right, one is without the
personal choice.
Yeah. Yes. Choice. That's true. One is with the Father in the different stages in maturity to sonship in a sense. So, and pray for our sister.
Father, you are holy and good, Lord, and we are grateful that you would see it to be in your will to share with us the revelation of your deepest truths, that you are unsettling the surface level Christianity that you have so deeply not desired for us to live in. And in your goodness and kindness and just your gracious mercy, you are revealing the depths of the truth of what you wanted for your people. And my prayer is that there is not a single person who will take it lightly. And that, as Emmanuel had prayed earlier, or it was Tim, I don't remember, but I think it was Emmanuel, just to challenge ourselves to say, are we willing? Are we willing? We need to be willing, Lord. Let us say yes to you and what you are saying here. Lord, let us be challenged. Let us not stand back and shy away from your truth, Father, but challenge us, God, for truth's sake. Let us be challenged, Lord, and say that we are willing. I pray that, Father, in this holy moment that you have set apart in your absolute grace, and that when we would not be without understanding, that we are to be humbled by what has taken place here today, but that we, Lord, would in this set apart moment, not let it last in the moment, Father, but that we would take it with us and dwell on it and chew it up, Lord, and swallow it and receive it so that we might be who we are in your kingdom. I thank you and I pray these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Bless the Lord.